Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another Draft Targets video. And today we are diving into the Philadelphia Flyers, one of the most intriguing teams for the 2025 NHL Draft. With 3 first-round picks and 4 second-rounders, the Flyers have a ton of ammo to shape their future. But to keep it simple, we'll focus on their 3 first-rounder selection and maybe their first second-rounder. Before we jump in, please take the time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content that I make. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate all the support. So let's get into it. So as of right now, the Flyers are slated to pick 5th overall. Obviously by then, Michael Misa and Matthew Schaefer are off the board. They won't be there at number 5. There's no chance whatsoever. It just won't happen. But beyond that, it's a total wild card. Maybe Nashville, they bet on a guy like James Hagen's upside, or maybe they go for Frondell, a skilled two-way Swedish forward who can shoot the puck to follow in Philip Forsberg's footstep. Boston, on the other hand, they can't really go any direction here. There's just no way to know for sure. So for this video, we're only removing Misa and Schaefer from the board. I firmly believe, and I think most people would agree, that the number one thing Philadelphia needs to lock down is a surefire top 6 or first line center for the future. Sean Couturier isn't what he used to be, and the only middle 6, maybe top 6 center in the pipeline is Jet Luchenko. That's not exactly a promising future down the middle. So with that in mind, they really have 4 different ways they can go about it. Personally, I've been off the James Hagen's train for a little while now, and I also don't think that Philly would love the idea of running 2 top 6 centers at 5'11" back-to-back into their lineup. Another option is Caleb Desnoyers, which would give the Flyers 2 really strong two-way centers, but Desnoyers' offensive upside seems somewhat limited. He doesn't have that high-end dynamism with the puck you usually look for in a top 5 pick. That said, he's a complete package. I see him more as a responsible two-way center who can consistently put like 60 to 70 points, but I'm not sure he develops into a true point-per-game guy who also plays at a high level of the puck. Still, it'd be a really solid piece alongside Mishkov in the future, and at 6'2", he brings a little bit more size. They could also go with Frondell, another center with strong defensive awareness. He's 6 feet tall, but he plays at around 200 pounds. Less of a playmaker, but he's got one of the best shots and one of the best one-timer in the draft, and he can create chances around the net also. And then there's players like Martin that they could go for, but it doesn't really fix the center position. And then there's also players like Roger McQueen, but now that he's injured again, I doubt they go for that. If Philly gets to pick any of these guys, I think they go with Desnoyers. He's got that Nico Hischier profile, first line potential, and can lug big minutes, kill penalties, play on the power play, match up against anyone, and insulate Mishkov. Desnoyers is the perfect option for Philly, followed by Frondell, Hagens, then maybe O'Brien or McQueen if they feel like they really want to take a big chance. With the next 2 draft picks, we'll simulate one towards the beginning of the 20s and the other one towards the end of the 20s. And outside of Oliver Bonk, Jet Luchenko, and a few goalies like Zavragin, there really aren't many high upside players in the Flyers pipeline who project as top 4 defensemen or top 6 forwards. So instead of trying to put the finishing touches on a rebuild by adding role players here and there, we're going to focus on grabbing the most natural skill possible at any position outside of goaltending. And by natural skill, I don't mean just a dangler or somebody with a hard shot. It can be physical skill, it doesn't matter, just somebody with a skill that stands out. In the early 20s, if Justin Carbonneau is there, or Cation Aitchison is there, or Brady Martin is there, I'd jump on the opportunity to take any of them, and basically in that order. Carbonneau has game-breaking skill, Aitchison brings elite compete and serious physical edge, and Martin is a hard-hitting grinder with tons of creativity and offensive ability. If none of them are available, a player like Braden Coots or Cameron Reed would make a lot of sense here too. There are more naturally skilled players on the board right now, guys like Cameron Schmidt, Colin Potter, Benjamin Kindle, but personally, I wouldn't go for a smaller offensively gifted player just yet. There are plenty of them in this draft, and some will be available later in the draft. Neither Coots nor Reed are big guys, but Coots is around 6 feet tall, a strong skater, has good puck skills, and competes hard. He's shown flashes of top 6 upside. The same goes for Reed. He got solid skills. He's a very strong skater, has a good shot and vision, and project as a top 4 defenseman. So it's almost a sure shot that one of them will fall in the early 20s. So if you can grab a Justin Carbonneau, a Cation Aitchison, a Brady Martin, a Braden Coots, or a Cameron Reed in the early 20s, I think the Flyers Flyers are in business. For the late first round pick and the early second, there's still plenty of options here. There's all those smaller players like Reshny, Potter, Schmidt, and Kindle. Chances are that one of them is still going to be there, and probably some will still be available on day 2. But Potter and Kindle seems like very good options in the late first. I think they both have top 6 upside. It might get complicated to get there, but they still have it. If Philly is not interested in smallish player just yet, players like Ivan Ryabkin, Wilmore, Nathan Bem, and Nestrasil, they all fit the skilled forward with good frames description. Moore is on the lighter side, and he doesn't have any physical skills whatsoever in his toolkit, but he has the runway. And on the defensive side of things, there's players like Henry Brustevics, Carter Amico, or Sasha Boumedian, who also all seems like very good options here. In an ideal world, in the early 20s, I would go with the highest ceiling forward possible like Carbonneau, Martin, or Coots. Grab one of the D with the late first, and then swing for upside with one of the forwards left in the early second. But honestly, if they don't move one or more of their second round pick to move as high as possible with one of their first, I think it's a missed opportunity, especially in this draft where the talent depth is pretty weak in my opinion. So in a good to great scenario, Philly takes Desnoyers or maybe Frondel with their top 5 pick. They follow this up with either a highly skilled player like Carbonneau or Braden Coots, or a top 4D in Aitchison or Cameron Reed. Then finish this up with a swing on players like Colin Potter, Nestrasil, Nathan Bem, and a D like Boumedian or Amico or something like that. That would look like a game-changing draft for Philly's pipeline, but I think they will need to move up a little bit to score a second high-end prospect, or it's just going to be a missed opportunity. So there it is for the draft targets. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.